Hello everyone, welcome back. It's CoachFury here today, and we are back with our regular Let's Play of Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 21 with the Chicago Bulls, seeing how we can get on with this young Chicago Bulls side and hopefully take them from a rebuilding phase into hopefully a contender phase over time. But we are still in the season one. We have just completed a pretty drastic trade in the sense that we traded away Zach LaVine for Eric Bledsoe and 2 first-round picks from New Orleans. I wasn't necessarily expecting to trade away LaVine, but when you get offered that type of deal, you just have to jump at it. I know Eric Bledsoe is 31 and his contract's quite long in terms of being 3 years, but I think that'll be a movable contract in a couple of years' time anyway, because it'll be a nice expiring. Bledsoe is still a pretty good player. I mean, he's still a good rotation piece, possibly a starter for us at this stage with his defensive ability and his shooting ability. And he is, a pretty good attacker, gets the rim, draws fouls okay actually for a guard. So I'm very comfortable with that trade, to be honest with you. I think that was the right decision. I don't think LaVine was in our mind for our actual probably final destination where we want to get to. Yes, he's putting up crazy numbers at the minute. He was our only real main scorer on the team, and he has a really good scoring ability. But I felt that 2 first-round picks from New Orleans, who I believe at the moment are filtering around the playoffs, I think. So they are the 8th seed. It was a good gamble to take, to be honest. It's not often you get offered 2 first-round picks for a player. So, as you can see on the alerts here, we are 7 days away from the trade deadline. So the majority of this episode is going to be talking about trades and things and seeing what we can do after we've pulled off the first trade, seeing whether there's anything else we necessarily want to do. So in terms of where we are with the trade block, let's probably look at that first. Let's take a look. So we've got most players on the trade block at the minute, apart from Wendell Carter, Markkanen, White, Williams, and obviously Bledsoe, who is trade restricted. So we do have one decision I think we've got to make on this episode, really, and maybe just think about the pros and cons of that, and that is really whether we want to trade Lauri Markkanen. I know people are probably going to be screaming at me going, "You're absolutely mad. This guy is putting up really good numbers. We've put a lot of work into him. His numbers are better. He's shooting a little bit better. He's developing into a pretty good starter for the NBA, really." Yes, he is. That's a fair observation, I think, to take. But the problem is that it is his last year of his rookie deal. So he will probably be trade restricted. We will have rights on him in the summer. But in terms of the extension, do I really want to pay Lauri Markkanen $21 million when someone might come in and do that, and then we have an option possibly to, obviously to exercise that qualifying offer or not? But do I really want to pay that for Markkanen, for someone who is a good stretch for, but not a great one? Do I really want to pay that? That's the question we've got to think about. I don't think we're going to actually go and try and extend him at this stage. That's clearly not going to happen. We will definitely let that ride out to the summer, because we'll let market value kind of dictate what we do with him. But it does mean that I'm probably going to shop him around now and just see if any team is interested in taking him. And for those of you who followed the last episode, obviously there was an issue with the get trade aspect of the game, that if you pressed the get trade and a team offered you a trade, and you went to make the actual trade on the execution button here, it didn't always work, which was the issue we had with the LaVine. Pleased to say that I notified the developer about that a couple of weeks ago, and they've actually gone and fixed it, and this is a new patch now. So hopefully, if we do get any offers here, we won't have to go and do that sort of background editing, really fiddling with it. So we've had a first offer here in terms of the Charlotte Hornets have offered us Miles Bridges and a 2nd round pick. It's not a bad offer. Clearly, Bridges is more of a forward type player. Maybe we'll come back to that one. I want to see really what the rest of the league could offer. So Cleveland are offering Garland and a 2nd round pick. Where is Garland? He's putting up some pretty solid numbers. We don't need a point guard though. We have White, so we're probably not going to necessarily look at that one. Again, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable if we get to a point where we don't get a good offer. We can certainly revisit that. Killian Haynes has been offered for him in a second round pick. I don't know anything about Killian Haynes, but I'll have to go and have a look at that one. Let's have a look. I know he's a point guard, but his stars are pretty good. So he is an attacker, a good defensive player. Ball handling, passing's pretty good. Not bad actually. He's not bad. Possibly we can look at that. We might come back to that one just because it's nice to get someone if we can with some good potential, slightly better potential than Markkanen possibly. Certainly, if we get offered that again, we might consider that. Golden State clearly not interested. Rockets are not. Just keep going down these teams and have a look. Really, we've been offered Harrell. I mean, we're not going to do that one. I don't think. Actually, Harrell is still a pretty good player. It means we would have him for another year. We have Wendell Carter though. We don't really need a player like Harrell. But interesting that Markkanen does have some value at this moment in time, which means he might actually get some fair offers for him in free agency, which is something we'll have to obviously consider whether we exercise his rights or not. To the qualifying offer that we'll be able to offer him. Okay, so I think okay, the Pistons are no longer interested in that deal for some reason. We'll probably come back to that one possibly after we've gone for a couple of days here on this episode. So that's one thing that I'm exploring. We'll obviously probably explore a little bit more in terms of some of these other guys as well, because I'm genuinely surprised that no one necessarily wants to throw us an offer for some of these guys. I mean, I can understand the Otto Porter. He's just a huge expiring unless we manage to do something there. I'm not surprised he's not got an offer. But you've got the likes of one that I'm interested about is Young. $30 million, yes, is slightly more than you would expect for him. But he's putting up some okay numbers, so maybe we can make something happen there. So because we've obviously completed that trade, we have had a bit of a readjustment of the depth chart. You can see here Williams is obviously the main start of the bench, but Bledsoe's gone in at point guard. The reason we've done that is because I think he's probably slightly better to handle the ball at this stage than White, and I'm interested to see how White does off the ball as well. So we'll give that a little bit of a go. Obviously Carter's still out for 2 days, so we haven't got him for this first game here up against the Pelicans. But let's go. In terms of this one, I guess the interesting thing here is that we are up against Levine, obviously, in terms of who we just literally traded for. So interesting, we completed that trade and we are playing them straight away. So we'll see, is Levine going to come back to haunt us here and get a win against us? And we lose that one by 7. Let's see how Levine got on. Yeah, no, okay, he put up 26 points. All right, he was making a little bit of a statement there against us in that one. Yeah, okay, fine, fine. That's all right. I don't mind that. Let's get ourselves going another day, and then we'll probably come back and take a little look at the trades as well. All right, we obviously haven't got any game here. I mean, we've got until the 5 days until the trade deadline. We'll probably go another couple of days, probably until we've got a game next, and then we'll explore it. So we are up against the 76ers next, but I want to go back in and have a little look at the trades again. So one guy I said I was interested in looking at is Thaddeus Young. I'm sure someone would be interested in taking him. He is, versatile, sort of stretch 4, can play out a bit on the 3, in terms of small forward as well. I'm surprised no one has sort of dived in and decided to pick him up, even if it's just to dump some salary on us. I'm surprised that has not necessarily happened yet. So let's get ourselves going and have a little look. Unfortunately, that's one thing. I have some really good feedback that I would give to this game is that it'd be nice for the next version or in a patch possibly to just have an option where you just press get offer, and it just gets offer for every single team, and you can kind of just see what offers you've got rather than having to go down every single team like this. It gets a bit robotic at times, as I'm sure you can probably see, to try and find that, especially if you get no offers like that. So the other guy that I'm interested to explore, I know this is going to be crucified again, but Patrick Williams, I'm interested to see if we do get any offers for him. I mean, he's not necessarily got the stats yet at this moment in time. I just want to see if we maybe do get an offer for him, given that he's got a little bit of a way to go to actually develop. I'm conscious he's only 19 years old. But I'll be interested to see if we do get any offers for him around the trade deadline. But I'm going to go back to Markkanen and just shop him around again, basically, to see if we do get any offers again for him that people might necessarily want to come back in for him on. So I've been offered Devontae Graham. So Graham is expiring as well. Yeah, I'm not going to take that. I'm happy. I mean, happy for him to. Happy for us to keep Markkanen at that rate. So we have been offered Hayes again. I just don't think we need Hayes. That's the problem. And he's not a great shooter, as you can see. We'd have to do a lot of work with him again to develop him. So I think I'm not going to take that. I'd rather take my chances with Markkanen in free agency and see how that materialises. I'm just interested just to see if we get anything that's of interest. So the Clippers are coming off as Kennard and Kabengele. He's not a great player. He's expiring. Kennard's got a stupidly long deal. Granted, he's a pretty good shooter, but no, I'm not. Sorry, Clippers. I'm not gonna take that. You can you can keep those guys. Okay, so the Grizzlies are offering. They want our first round pick this year, and they're offering Jackson Jr. and they're offering Brandon Clark, two fairly good players actually. Oof. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. It's our first round pick this year though, so it means granted we are 25 and 27 or something at the moment. 25 and 28, sorry. Oh man. I mean, both of those guys look rather good, I have to say. Obviously, neither of them are really outside shooters. Jackson Jr. looks like he could develop. Both could develop into very good players. I think we've got to take that, haven't we? What do you guys think? I mean, Markkanen's expiring. He's clearly not as good as the two guys that we could pick up here. We would have both Clark and Jackson Jr. for another year. Well, another year after this, and then obviously they go into the restricted. I think they both would be restricted free agents because they're coming off their rookie years. Oh, that's a really tough decision, isn't it? Give up our first round pick this year and our second round pick in 2023. I think we've got to take it. I honestly think we've got to take it. I'm confident that at 25 and 28 that we can make the playoffs with those two guys. And that would give us a pretty awesome front three as well. Wendell Carter Jr., Jarrett Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark. We've got to take that. Okay, so we've now got more than 15 players. We'll have to release someone, but that's fine. Let's take a little look at these guys. So Jarrett Jackson Jr. is already a pretty awesome player. It looks like. Yeah, obviously we don't have any extensions on him. Brandon Clark is option eligible, which is fantastic. I did not realise that. We will absolutely exercise that. Really good inside shooter, great defensive ability. Man, I think we've had an absolute bargain there. We've picked up two better players from that deal. Obviously, we've had to give around a first round pick, and a lot of it will depend on how that materialises. But we do have the New Orleans pick this year, so we will have a first round pick this year. And we won't have to pay Markkanen silly money. And in terms of our contract situation, we will absolutely go, and we don't have any options on Jarrett Jackson Jr. But Brandon Clark, we will definitely exercise that rookie option. So we do get him for 3 years, which is fantastic. Oh man, I think that was a great deal. Looking at it even more now. Yes, Jarrett Jackson Jr. is the prize piece really. But 4th round pick a couple of years ago. Good shot blocker. I'm actually really happy with that. That rotation is going to be pretty awesome now. Right, so first thing we've got to do is we've got to release someone. And I think the obvious one is we release probably either Gafford or Cornett, given the fact that we've just managed to pick up someone here. So in terms of this, I think Cornett can go. We will get rid of you, release you. So that gives us our 15 back. Yep, it does. So we'll get the AI to suggest all at the minute. Let's have a look. So Clark is pegged in at power forward. Jackson Jr. is off the bench. Yeah. Oh man, I really love that front court now. That is a really nice young team actually. Because if you think about this, we're going to have Williams possibly in at small forward eventually. White can go in at either guard position. And then all we've really got to do is think about possibly drafting a nice young point guard, probably someone who is a better fit for a style of play we want to do. But I'm happy with that. Clark's rating obviously is decent in terms of he's a really good shooter. He's a really good shooter inside. Post up shot, yeah, cool. Pull up jumper, catch and shoot. I'm happy with where that is. I mean, you shoot a little bit corner 3, but that's fine. You're a really good shooter actually. And then Jackson off the bench. I think we'll give Jackson some more minutes, and we'll get him to cover both centre and the forward position. I think out of this. So if you come in here, in terms of the forward positions, you can cover those ones there, but then you can take up those minutes there. So you're getting a nice stint there, and then I probably want you back in there. Yeah, do something like that. And then I think in terms of here, we can have you in either side of that. You're playing a good 26 minutes, that's fine. If we can get you blocked in a bit better there. Yeah, something like that will work. So we'll give Jarrett Jackson Jr. 26 minutes. Clark 34. Wendell Carter 34. We'll obviously change this up so that they sub out a little bit less as well. And then Williams. Okay, I've got Williams randomly playing centre here at some stage. That's probably not ideal. So Williams, you'll have to play a bit of power forward, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Obviously we've got Young. We probably still we'll have to try and look see if we can trade Thaddeus Young. I mean, is he expiring? He's got another year left, hasn't he? He's got another year left. It'd be nice if we could just dump him really and get that salary back. But in terms of our contract situation, we still have a bunch of cap room in the off season as well, so we can clearly address that with some veteran presence there as well. Oh man, we're already like 18 minutes into this episode and we've pulled off a massive trade, 2 massive trades at this trade deadline. Actually, we are wheeling and dealing our way into a team here, into a very good young team. Actually, it's probably fair to say as well. So, in terms of strategy, what are we still running? Are we still running a grind? Yeah, that's fine. We need to utilize those players. Yeah, happy with that. In terms of the office, we are high defensive intensity. We're crashing the boards. Probably run a bit of full court less and a little bit less zone. Because the guys, we can probably lean a bit more on our rotation because we are a bit deeper. Presence is a little bit more in youth, obviously, now. And let's see. We are up against 76ers, who are a Premier team. Let's see if we can get a result against them. We can. And Brandon Clark puts up 34 points in his first game. That is fantastic. Man, what a trade that was. Brandon Clark, 34 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. Oh my goodness me, that's great. And he was up against Harris, who's a really, really good stretch forward as well. Jackson Jr. off the bench with 15 points. That front court is going to be fantastic. Carter Jr. with 12 points. Yeah, that was definitely the right decision to make. Definitely. White looked all right actually as an off guard. Bledsoe shooting numbers are not great. We'll have to have a little look at him quickly. But that's a big statement win beating the 76ers. 76ers are going to be one of the premier teams in the Eastern Conference. They've got some real good stars in Embiid and co. So that's fantastic to see. Right, let's take a little look at Bledsoe. So your shooting numbers are not great on the outside. You clearly want to get to the basket more. You are driving past, drive and shoot a lot. We could probably get rid of the shoot off dribble, I think, for the pull-up jumper. Let's get that sorted. So strategy, Bledsoe, 1 month. We want you to drive and shoot more at the expense of the shoot off dribble. So one of the things I should point out before we end this episode here is that I did ask the developer of the game on the forum a little bit about why the pull-up jumpers, how we can get those to come down, because I was conscious that we had a couple of players who had pull-up jumpers that were not necessarily very efficient. And the way you can do that is because if you go into the strategy section, it actually, pull-up jumpers are impacted by the shoot-off dribble, as you would probably expect. They're dribbling, pulling up a shot. So that's how you can kind of get that reduced. And it really depends, he said, on how the player is in terms of their personality as to whether they listen to you or not. Some players won't, which is great. You get a bit of a feel of the players and everything. So we'll keep working at that. But I'm really happy with that trade. We've pulled off 2 fantastic transactions here. We have managed to come away with 2 first-round picks and pretty much secured our nice young front court for Lauri Markkanen, Zach LaVine, and a first-round pick and a second-round pick. I will happily take that every single day of the week. We have pulled up Brandon Clark, who I think, to be honest with you, looking at it now, is going to be a bit of a star for us. And Jackson Jr. and Wendell Carter are going to be fantastic support for him in the front court. And I'm really, really excited now. We've got a real nice young core, and we'll work our way to try and address some of the backcourt challenges over the next season or so. We've got cap room. We look like we could be a playoff team this year. Everything is up for the Chicago Bulls side, and we'll come back next time. I know obviously we haven't quite got to the trade deadline, but we've been frantically making a couple of big trades here, and we've had to consider a few big trades. And we'll see how we get on when we come back next time. If you've enjoyed the episode and you're enjoying this Bulls Let's Play series, feel free to drop your comments down. Do you think we've made the right trades here? Would you have made the right decision in terms of the same decision as I have? Do you think it's the right decision? Interested to hear your thoughts, comments, everything. Feedback's been great so far for this Let's Play series. Let's keep going, let's keep progressing, and see how we get on with this Bull side.